Hello, and welcome fellow Yaleys to the 150th anniversary of Women at Yale. I'm Jodie Foster, a proud member of the class of '84 and of Grace Hopper College, formerly known as Calhoun College. I was a literature major, a member of the Elizabethan Club, go Lizzie, and an Anchor Bar regular. So now you see right there, I just gave you a whole resume of belonging. Like many of you, I can still remember arriving in New Haven on that warm August day, decked out in my brand new dolphin shorts, hoping that no one could X-ray vision through my bravado. You see, Yale had made a terrible mistake. I wasn't smart enough, deep enough, preppy enough, you name it, enough to belong there. You know what I'm talking about. The imposter syndrome, a hallmark of elite universities and other places. It's defined as a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their accomplishments or talents and has an internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Does that sound familiar? The syndrome was coined by clinical psychologists Pauline Clance and Suzanne Inyes in 1975. And I'm sure it will come as no surprise to you that their research confirmed that this phenomenon is almost exclusively attributed to women. And yes, high-achieving women. Luckily, in this imposter's case, the gnawing fear of exposure, the inability to internalize or accept success became motivating factors for me. I had to keep up that charade of belonging here by digging deeper, reaching higher, and holding on to the admirable values that this institution held up in front of me so I could live up to the potential that this place had invested me with. Okay, so it's maybe sophomore year and I'm feeling good. I got my bearings. I'm following all the rules. And after a while, I start shedding the discomfort of a new place. And I'm wrapping my arms around my alma mater, Yale. And then I turn around and I realize, wait a minute, this dude has issues. And for me, that is where the real education begins. When you finally bring that strength of self to challenge these hallowed walls from the inside. You claim ownership of your education, to quote Adrienne Rich. You no longer just receive it. And when you challenge your institution to evolve, to include, to change shape, that's when it becomes alive, in communion, in dialogue. 50 years ago, undergraduate women walked through the gates of Old Campus and they sparked the fire of a bold transformation. That very act was an earthquake. It was the beginning of a new era. And it said, let it be known, this place will grow and change. And yes, some challenges might feel uncomfortable to some. Let it be known, the Yale experience will require an openness, a curiosity, a willingness to look through a different lens and positionality. It will require the strength to be vulnerable. It will require examining privilege, unpacking the wounds of our shared pasts. It will require a reckoning. And you must be willing to be willing. Those are the requirements of a real education. Those are the requirements to belonging here. And it sure beats a perfect SAT score, as far as I'm concerned. Today, you will be meeting many extraordinary Yale women, artists, educators, leaders, thinkers, doers, great women, fearless women who have changed the landscape of our culture, our country, our planet. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to speculate now, and none of them sat listening to the organ in Woolsey Hall on opening ceremony thinking, wow, I really belong here. I'm entitled to be a Yalie. And come to think of it, yeah, they're lucky to have me. No, each of these women listened to the call of longing for purpose, longing for that beautiful possibility of belonging. No, it's that drive that makes us dream and rage and try and then fail and then try and then fail again. We want to be seen, want to be known, to hope that in so doing, we can become a part of something greater than ourselves. And yet these women didn't just stumble right out of Phelps Gate and change the world. They persevered through often impossible odds. They tapped into a well of creativity that they sometimes didn't even quite understand. I love you, Maya Lin. They paved a trail where there was just a skinny little opening, and all of them shared the fierceness born from wanting, from longing. I'm so excited to eavesdrop on these conversations. How do our experiences inform one another's? What can we accomplish together from a shared sense of decency, stewardship, and caring, especially in these strange times when up is down and down is up? I need to hear the sound that I trust. The voices of Yale women, engaged and empowered to speak their truth with that very particular energy and generosity of spirit, excitement, commitment. Those are the voices we need right now. So just close your eyes and pretend. Just imagine you're in the Sterling Library right now. The leather chair is squeaking, the radiator's on full blast, and someone snuck in a sandwich with your friends. And some of you are on the floor hiding from the librarian, having one of those rapid fire, mind-bending, heart-racing discussions that you'll never forget, even though it turns out you can't remember a thing anyone said. So enjoy the moment of virtual community as an exercise of creativity. May we all be surrounded by a tangle of friends in Sterling Library. And I promise you won't be shushed.
Thank you for inviting me and for inviting Marta to join you for this very special event. As some of you know, and Regina mentioned, Marta is a proud woman of Yale. She's a 1984 graduate of the Yale School of Public Health. Marta?
Hello, everyone. I wish that we were seeing each other face to face, but this is wonderful what Yale has put together, as only Yale can do. And I hope someday soon to see every single one of you at our house in a reception, enjoying Yale again.
Great, thank you. We're so delighted to be with you, even in this way, to mark our year-long commemoration of two milestones in Yale's history. 150 years since the first women were admitted to Yale, and 50 years since the beginning of co-education in Yale College. Starting last September, the entire Yale community has joined together for 50 Women at Yale 150. We've learned so much from the experiences, stories, and wisdom shared and from the invaluable materials in our archives. Together, we've strengthened our understanding of these formative anniversaries, and we've gained a deeper appreciation for women's tremendous contributions to this university, indeed to the world. I want to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has had a hand in putting together the programs and events of 50 Women at Yale 150. This includes Eve Hart Rice, class of 1973, and a current Yale trustee. She served as the chair of the 50th Anniversary Committee and co-chair of the steering committee. And I thank Linda Lorimer, a 1977 graduate of the Yale Law School and a retired vice president of Yale and a former Yale trustee. She served as the co-chair of the 50 Women at Yale 150. I'd also like to express my gratitude to Weili Cheng, Nicholas Lewis, and the Shared Interest Group's team at the YAA for organizing this virtual symposium. Because of the dedication and hard work of so many volunteers, we've been able to engage with our past, gain greater understanding of our society today, and look to the future. Over the past year, we've explored how co-education has increased the representation of women in every kind of role at Yale. Today, 8 of the 15 deans of the undergraduate, professional, and graduate schools are women. The current senior fellow of the Yale Board of Trustees is a woman. In fact, the last 3 have been women. However, Much more needs to be done to realize the full potential of coeducation. Those who led coeducation efforts starting over a century ago set the stage for our work today to increase the representation of women in faculty positions and in leadership roles across all sectors. These trailblazers also taught us how to have deeper discussions about inclusion, about diversity and belonging for all individuals, people of every race, gender, and way of understanding themselves. Such conversations are more necessary than ever as our society grapples with the parallel crises of the COVID-19 pandemic, which highlights unacceptable health disparities for Black and Brown communities, and systemic anti-Black racism and violence, which are rooted in our nation's history of slavery. At this moment, it's particularly important to remember that ever since they first arrived at Yale, women of color have played important leadership roles, first as students and then as alumni. Women of color had to overcome additional obstacles in order to achieve their aspirations and serve society. I'm thinking of alumni like Jane Bolin. She was the first Black woman to graduate from the Yale Law School. In 1939, she became the first and only Black woman judge in the United States. She was a judge at a time when the cruelties of segregation were inescapable in every aspect of life. Despite all that, she made a difference for countless people. Among her many achievements, she put an end to the practice of assigning probation officers based on race and the placement of children in childcare agencies based on ethnic background. I also think of Helen Hagen, the first African-American woman graduate of the Yale School of Music. She graduated in 1912. In the face of virulent racism during the Jim Crow era, Hagen performed as a concert pianist in New Haven and New York, and she entertained troops in France during World War I. She's buried in New Haven's Evergreen Cemetery, where her grave, once unmarked, was recently restored and properly memorialized. I can only imagine the courage and resilience of Jane Bolin, Helen Hagen, and the other women who shaped Yale and communities across the nation. Their contributions serve as an inspiration for us all to take action to create a better future. In the coming weeks, I'll be launching a series of programs to create a stronger Yale for the future. These programs will build on the progress that has been made at our university so far, especially by the trailblazers of coeducation. Through these new initiatives, we will delve further into our history, assess and build on our current actions, and support members of the university community. We will ensure that we can continue to lead the way in teaching and in conducting research and scholarship of the highest caliber, which require diverse strengths and a climate where all members feel they can belong, can participate, and can thrive. Many of you have worked to make this university a more inclusive and excellent place. And you've made enduring contributions to your communities, to every field and profession, and to our world. This event is an opportunity for us to reflect on this tremendous legacy. As we commemorate coeducation, we look to a future built on your work. Your triumphs, experiences, and wisdom provide a foundation for students on campus today as they make their mark on Yale and the world in the years ahead. Thank you for all the ways you have improved education, scholarship, and research at Yale and institutions of higher education around the globe. And thank you for your continued work to create a future that fulfills the promise of coeducation and honors the extraordinary legacy of women at Yale. Thank you very much.
My name is Linda Lorimer, and for the last 3 years, I have had the privilege of serving, along with Eve Rice, as co-chair of 50 Women at Yale 150. It's been a wonderful 12 months, commemorating the 50th anniversary of the admission of women to Yale College and the 150th anniversary of women students at the university. All of us planning the anniversary year knew it needed to be more than a celebration. We have been determined to punctuate women's contributions to society as well as to Yale, to highlight the unfinished agenda for women at the university and around the world, to draw from the women from all of Yale's professional schools as well as the college, and to uncover the missing history, the many her stories of women at this institution. For the last 52 weeks, it has been so heartening to see how every school at Yale, all of the university museums, and so many departments have sponsored lectures, exhibitions, and performances, over 150 in number, as part of 50 Women at Yale 150. We hope this culminating symposium is whetting your appetite to view many of those earlier presentations, gathered online at celebratewomen.yale.edu. I do want to offer my personal thanks to the hundreds of Yale women, graduates, faculty, students, and staff, and supportive male colleagues who have made all of this possible, starting with the 30-plus members of the 3 steering committees who have been working since 2017. And for this culminating symposium for 50 Women at Yale 150, a special shout out to the YAA for taking programming ideas planned for a conference this fall in New Haven and literally amplifying them around the world. Our goal for this weekend from the beginning was to assemble Yale women graduates across all schools and generations to learn from other Yale sisters who are tackling the most consequential issues of our time. Our dream is that our presenters will not just educate us, but inspire us to think what more each of us might be doing to advance these critical matters, so that the refrain for God, for country, and for Yale is not a motto, but a call to action. Thanks for being a part.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Eve Rice, Yale College class of 1973, and a current Yale trustee. I've had the privilege of working with Linda Lorimer as co-chair of the 50 Women at Yale 150 initiative, and I also chaired the 50th anniversary celebration last fall. Several years ago, we began a conversation about doing something special to commemorate 2 momentous milestones in Yale's history: the arrival of Yale's first women undergraduates in 1969 and 150 years of women in Yale's graduate and professional schools. We wanted to honor the women who made the milestones happen, but also celebrate the amazing array of Yale women who have studied at Yale over so many decades, including those of you who are listening in the audience this afternoon. As you can see, that early conversation blossomed into a major year-long effort, which kicked off last September with a memorable weekend that brought together the trailblazing women who entered Yale College in 1969 for a first ever reunion. It was quite an event. The year that followed has been filled with stellar programming from all Yale schools and many campus organizations, and now we're here at the year's culminating weekend hearing from so many remarkable, passionate Yale women who are changing the world and making it a better place. There are many, many individuals to thank for this year's commemoration, but I'd like to give a special shout out to the folks at the Yale Alumni Association for their prodigious efforts, as well as our wonderful partners in Yale's graduate and professional schools and Yale College, and of course the dozens of committee volunteers who helped make all this great work happen. For me, these anniversaries are personal. 50 years ago, in 1969, I came to Yale as part of the very first cohort of women undergraduates. Needless to say, I am proud to be part of that first group of spirited, determined women. But I'm even prouder to be part of the extended group of awesome Yale women on this virtual stage, in this audience, and among the thousands of students and alumni, wherever they are, even if they couldn't tune in today. Right now, more than ever, the world needs smart, talented, thoughtful women to apply their energy and expertise across the range of human experience and the formidable challenges that we face. Although none of us can do it alone, each and every one of us can have impact. Clearly, we all, both Yale women and Yale men, have a lot of work to do. So when the conference is over and our laptops are closed, let's go out and do it. Congratulations to Yale on 2 extraordinary anniversaries, and kudos to you all for being fearless, phenomenal Yale women and men. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Weili Cheng. I am the Executive Director of the Yale Alumni Association. In August of 1973, I left my home in Honolulu, Hawaii for Yale, a place I had never before seen. At the time, I had no idea of the experiences and the opportunities that Yale would afford me. As I have listened to our speakers over the last several days, I have noticed that our Yale experiences and opportunities have been markedly different. We are, after all, a diverse group of women. We span many generations, identities, and Yale affiliations. And we are so strong and talented. I am proud to be a woman of Yale. What are your takeaways from this conference? My takeaway is that our experiences and opportunities at Yale and because of Yale have influenced the choices and decisions we have made. Those choices and decisions are now more important than ever. We can influence our communities, we can take action that makes this world a better place. I am grateful to everyone who has helped us mark these historic university milestones and helped us focus on the role of Yale women, not just at Yale, but in our world. I want to thank the staff at the university, including the staff at the Yale Alumni Association and our campus partners. I also want to thank the hundreds of volunteers who have made 2 years' worth of events and programs a reality. Above all, I would like to thank Eve Hart Rice and Linda Lorimer, 2 amazing volunteers who conceived of and led the planning for this event and the events over the last 2 years. And of course, I thank you for being a part of 50 years of women students in Yale College and 150 years of women at Yale.